Dungeons & Dragons, the truly iconic tabletop RPG that has reached legendary status in pop culture, is receiving another big-screen adaptation. This newest endeavor to bring this fantasy game to live action has been in development for several years. In this video, I'd like to discuss briefly the history of this beloved franchise and the previous adaptations, as well as what we know so far about this new attempt to bring it to film. Dungeons & Dragons, more commonly referred to as D&D, is a fantasy tabletop role-playing game that was first released in 1974 by Tactical Studies Rules Incorporated. Since 1997, it has been published by Wizards of the Coast, a subsidiary of Hasbro. The game skyrocketed in popularity as the first modern role-playing game. It is the grandfather of the genre, setting the standard for future games and inspiring countless other fantasy properties. The popularity of the game has ebbed and flowed over the years, yet Dungeons & Dragons to this day remains the most recognized tabletop RPG and has become an icon of pop culture. Considering how gaming itself has evolved over the years, D&D continues to have a strong global following, even experiencing a surge in popularity in recent years, with new editions being published, and the game continually being referenced and featured in popular franchises such as Big Bang Theory and Stranger Things. The game's legendary status is no doubt one of the reasons studios have had avid interest in adapting it to film. However, it is no easy task to bring such an intricate world to live action on screen. In the year 2000, a British-American Dungeons & Dragons film was released from New Line, featuring performances by Jeremy Irons, Justin Whalen, and Thora Birch. The film's reception, however, was mostly negative, and it performed poorly at the box office, earning only $33 million globally against a $45 million budget. Despite the poor response from audiences, an indirect sequel was developed and released in 2005 called The Wrath of the Dragon God. And another straight-to-DVD film was released in the UK in 2012 called The Book of Vile Darkness. The production budgets for these projects were significantly lower, however, and though the sequels did have more references to the game content, only hardcore gamers could fully appreciate those elements. Studios have continued to eye this property since it has such mass appeal, and also because many feel that an updated adaptation could be very successful if handled properly. The history of the many video games adapted to film over the years have had very mixed results, with most of them failing to appeal to general audiences and falling short of fans' expectations. The pathway to success for a property such as Dungeons & Dragons seems even more insurmountable. Let's hope those involved are able to live up to the challenge ahead. The quest to once again bring the fantasy realms of D&D to the screen and launch a new franchise started to make some headway back in 2015. Warner Bros. Announced that after a lengthy legal battle over who owned the rights to the franchise and months of negotiations with Hasbro's Allspark Pictures and Sweet Pea Entertainment, they had finally reached an agreement and were moving ahead with a new feature film franchise. At this time, David Leslie Johnson was attached to write the screenplay for it. About a year after this initial announcement, it was revealed that Rob Letterman, director of Goosebumps, was attached to direct the film, and that Ansel Elgort from the Divergent films and The Fault in Our Stars was in early talks to star in it. However, the direction of the film's development changed a couple more times over the next few years. Actor and D&D superfan Joe Manganiello and John Castle were even attached to write the screenplay at one point. A significant change in the development process, however, came in 2018 when the film was moved from Warner Bros. To Paramount Pictures. Paramount is now co-producing and co-financing the Dungeons & Dragons film with Hasbro, and E1 will be distributing the movie in the UK and Canada, while Paramount handles the distribution to the rest of the world. Lego Batman director Chris McKay was then in talks to direct this film, and Michael Giglio was brought on to rewrite the initial David Leslie Johnson screenplay. Casting for the lead was rumored to already be underway when yet another shakeup happened behind the scenes. In July 2019, it was revealed that Jonathan Goldstein and John Francis Daly were in discussions to direct the film for Paramount and Hasbro's Allspark Pictures banner. The duo were officially brought on to direct the ambitious film, and in January of 2020, they announced that they will also be working with a script they've written, which is based on Michael Giglio's previous draft. The duo's writing and directing credits include writing the dark comedy Horrible Bosses and its sequel, as well as the screenplay for Spider-Man: Homecoming. The two also wrote and directed the film Vacation, the latest installment in the National Lampoon's Vacation film series, and more recently they directed the dark comedy Game Night, starring Rachel McAdams and Jason Bateman. At this time, very little is known about this newest attempt to bring this iconic world of D&D to the big screen. It seems it's been an epic battle just to get the writing and directing duties established. However, what we do know is that the live-action Dungeons & Dragons film is said to feature an ensemble cast, which given the nature of D&D makes a lot of sense, but apparently it will take a subversive approach to the game. I must say, these days I cringe at the word subversive when it comes to a beloved franchise, but at this stage it's hard to know exactly what that means, especially since it's a film being adapted from such an intricate and unique property. The film not only has to make hardcore D&D fans happy, but it also needs to be accessible and appealing to general audiences who are not familiar with the game. Hopefully, the writing and directing duties will stick this time, so the development of this ambitious project can finally make some progress. At least the wheels of the casting process have begun turning, as it was just recently revealed that Chris Pine is now in negotiations to star in the new film. The actor already has a well-established relationship working with Paramount after headlining as James T. Kirk in their Star Trek films. Most recently, he can be seen in Wonder Woman 1984 reprising his role as Steve Trevor. Filming in Belfast is reportedly set to begin within the first few months of 2021, and its release date is currently set for May 27, 2022. Earlier in this video, I mentioned how adapting video games to film has proven to be a difficult and tricky business in Hollywood. When it comes to the Dungeons & Dragons property, however, it is completely unique, and the sky's the limit when it comes to storytelling. Given the casting of Chris Pine, who I really like as an actor, as well as the creative team that's currently behind this project, I'm choosing to remain cautiously optimistic as per usual. Ultimately, what I want to see from any live-action adaptation of D&D is a faithful representation of what made the game so intriguing to me in the first place. At its core, the game has always been built on the idea of a diverse group of adventurers working together and playing to their strengths in order to accomplish amazing things. So whatever setting, characters, or storyline they decide to go with, I feel that it's vital to establish and emphasize each character's strengths and weaknesses as we meet them, and then to see those strengths and weaknesses play out to affect the story as it unfolds. But I'm curious to know what you think about this upcoming D&D film. What are the most important elements from the tabletop game that you'd like to see carried through into the movie? Let me know in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. Leave a like if you did, and be sure to subscribe for more sci-fi and fantasy content. Thank you all so much for your support, and as always, have a very nerdy day.